Hello, everyone, and thanks for joining us on the Rochester Press Box. Bill Pucko, Tariq Spence, Mr. Duffy on the end. Tariq, you got we would be amiss if we didn't mention the fact that you finally dressed up your studio, and it looks really good.
Yeah, a little bit here. Yeah, a little miles on my side here, a little prints on the other side, and Giants paraphernalia, baseball stuff behind me. So, you
I need to know
a lot of stuff here.
Who's the purple guy? I need to know the purple guy.
The purple guy is from, let's see here, Toy Story. You ever see Toy Story? That's who this is. So Disney, I'll take the plug, or Pixar, whoever. So,
yeah, that's a little more my speed. Pat Duffy, how you doing this week?
Great, Greg. I'm glad I'm not the biggest nerd on the show this week. This is awesome. Fantastic.
You'll never. You'll always have that crown.
It's still coronavirus time. The Marlins had a problem. They had 17 guys test positive for coronavirus, and they shut down the team. What's your reaction to that?
17 and counting. I mean, who knows what the number is? By the time we record this segment, there might be more. Hopefully everybody's okay. I think we learned. I don't know about you, Duffy. 60 games in 66 days was a tough task to begin with. I think they might as well move it over.
Instead of just saying postpone, say you're going to cancel them, because there's no way you're going to be able to do that many doubleheaders in that much time, and learn from it. Understand that this is the first team that's really had to quarantine and shut everything down, and a couple other teams had to do the same thing. So this might be, you might get 50 games in and have to decide whether or not your season will continue from that moment on in the playoffs.
Okay, but you got a problem in just canceling the game. So what, is everyone else going to play 60? Are you going to cancel 10 games for everyone else? This week already, the Yankees and Orioles are meeting when they shouldn't have met each other because of Philadelphia and Miami and everything that happened that way. I will tell you what's remarkable. This can go one of two ways. Either this is the beginning of the end of Major League Baseball. There's a poll that came out earlier this week that said 50% of baseball fans think they should pack it in. Or the Major League Baseball has an opportunity to use this as a lesson, figure out what the Marlins did so horribly wrong, because somehow, some way, thank God, as we tape this, they're the only team dealing with it, and move forward with it. But if you're going to use it as a lesson, I think, Tariq, you're going to have to cancel the games that the Marlins were going to do, figure out a way for those other teams to make those games up against each other, and just completely disqualify the Marlins for the rest of the season.
And the playoffs. Here's the other issue. Okay, fine. We get to the regular season. We don't play 60 games. We play 55 or we play whatever. Then you get to the playoffs. Then how do you prevent it from happening again? What if a playoff teams gets this similar situation? Do they just get disqualified from the playoffs and you move on? This is. I mean, it makes you want to revisit the bubble, even though baseball players didn't want to do that. But there's a lot of players that opted out that are saying, "I told you so."
I don't think the idea that they'd be playing a different number of games is going to be an issue. First, they got the safety net of expanded playoffs. More than half the teams in baseball make the playoffs. That's really not a concern for the Marlins because they weren't good enough before. They're certainly not good enough now. The only teams that get hurt are the teams that don't get the chance to beat them. But again, I think Pat, the safety net is the fact that there's an expanded playoffs, and it's just deal with it.
Okay, but see, the NHL went through this early on, and it caused a lot of problems. So what do you do then? Do you go by win percentage? Because that's what the NHL did to find their 24 teams. You had teams that were like the Sabres missed out on the playoffs by percentage, like infinitesimal points of percentage to the Canadians to be that team. There's going to be someone that gets left out. You're already having a non-traditional baseball season, which all baseball fans love. If you're going to toy with it in the middle of the season, you're making angrier people that are already furious with this plan that you have.
But you didn't have this plan a month ago. You weren't going to play baseball for a long time. I mean, here we are playing it. Yeah, okay, some games will get disqualified, but guess what? There'll be other games that you can watch. So it expands people's viewership if they want to do that. The other end of this, too, is that how many times is this going to happen before we realize that this is not going to be played out 100 or 60 games? How many times is this going to keep happening going forward before you realize that you're fighting a virus and it's a team game? You have to fight it on the field and off the field. So until they find out what happened with the Marlins, you're not going to really know, like you said, Duffy, how to prevent it going forward.
There's precedent in 1970. Small precedent. In 1972, they played an irregular number of games due to a work stoppage. And I remember that only because the Red Sox lost the division and a playoff spot by a half game. that they weren't allowed to make up. So there's a little bit of precedent there. We are the Rochester Press Box, and we're talking Buffalo Bills next.
Original Bay Goodman Pizza, located on the corner of North Winton at Browncroft. There are 3 ways to get the original Bay and Goodman delivery. Go to baygoodman.com.
Thanks for joining us, and welcome back to the Rochester Press Box. Pat Duffy, I think what we first have to do, as far as the Buffalo Bills go this week and Star Lotulelei opting out, won't be part of the team this year, is to try to eliminate the human emotion that's the first reaction that says, well, screw him for screwing us. Right?
Okay, look, I get that there are fans that are feeling that way. I don't look at it that way. And maybe it's because the Bills social media team has done such a good job of humanizing these players. Like, I know that Star Lotulelei has some young kids. I know that Star Lotulelei is a father that's growing with his family. And I completely understand why Star Lotulelei, whether it was for family reasons or because he has a lot of guaranteed money coming, he didn't want to lose that guaranteed money if the season gets canceled, would make the decision that he did. The question is, when it comes to on-field stuff, how much are you going to miss a guy like Star Lotulelei in that defense?
How much, Tariq?
I think you're going to miss him a lot. I want to go back to what Duffy said about family. If you do any research on Star Lotulelei, you'll know how much his family means to him. As a matter of fact, I went back and saw some video of when he was drafted by the Panthers and was going through sort of all the drills and everything that goes with the pro days. And he said something I thought was interesting. This was in 2013. He said, I like football. I don't know if I love football, but I love my family. And when you see that reaction from 7 years ago to now, you understand where he is. Now, I understand Bills fans, hey, we don't need anybody leaving. We don't need it to turn it into the New England Patriots, where you got 4 or 5 star players that basically opted out for the rest of the season. We got a chance here to really do a lot of work, especially what happened to the Jets. But this is I think the fact that, Duffy, you mentioned it before, you have to understand these are human beings making decisions to opt out. They're not, it's not one of those things where they don't want to get paid. They do want to get paid. They do want to play the game, but not at this high of a cost. So now you have to sort of adjust to that. The Bills will adjust. Their defense, I think, will be fine as long as between now and when this airs, a number of players don't opt out, but they have the option to.
Yeah, they do. They're drawing from a position of strength, Pat, don't you think? I mean, defensive line was one of the strong points of this team.
Okay, yes, yeah. The defensive line was great last year. They lost 2 guys in Shaq Lawson and Jordan Phillips. They replaced him with a couple of other guys that are going to be able to fill in valiantly. Here's the question. Star Lotulelei is one of those odd throwback players where if you check the stat sheet every Sunday, you do not think Star Lotulelei made a difference. As a matter of fact, if you look at the percentage of snaps, off the top of my head, I believe he only played 36% of snaps last season for the Bills. But the overwhelming majority of those snaps were in the run game. He's not going to do the job himself, but he is going to take up 2 guys so Tremaine Edmonds and Matt Milano and Jerry Hughes and other guys can get free. I want to believe that this team is going to be just fine with who they have, but he was making that money for a reason, and he was on that roster despite doing nothing statistically for a reason. I think this might be a bigger deal than people are saying.
This may be the opportunity actually to evaluate him as a player. I mean, you're going to see how the team plays without him. He's a guy you didn't notice when he was in there. Hey, Tariq, we got 3 Buffalo Bills who made the top 100 in the NFL. NFL.com put out a survey. These things are sometimes not worth the paper they're printed on if they get printed. Reference. But, hey, Josh Allen is in there at number 87 and ahead of a lot of accomplished quarterbacks.
Yeah, he shouldn't be in there.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
He should not be in the top 100? 100. Duffy, 100?
Do you just keep saying 100?
But divide that out by team.
150? Yeah, maybe. He hasn't proven enough yet to show that he's in the top game. That doesn't make you the top 100. Now, can he be? Absolutely. I think he does have the ability. If there's a season that is played this year, but this is a big, big season for him, he cannot not play because you're basically going into next season with the same questions you have this season. 100? No.
How is he not a top 100 quarterback? 1 year as a full-time starter, he takes his team to the playoffs. He has the same style. He has the same rushing numbers. Hear me out right now. Rushing numbers as Mike Vick did his first season in the NFL. Oh, and he's got a cannon of an arm like Mike Vick did, but a team around him. Would you have said that his second year in the season, Mike Vick was a top 100 player? Or is there just an anti-Josh Allen bias that people love to buy into because he's proven wrong what everyone else said?
Show me more. Win a game in the playoffs. The
Oh, my God. One season as a starter, win a game in the playoff. Get out, Tariq. I like your taste in music. I hate your taste in Josh Allen.
Just for this segment.
I think they get it this year. I really feel Buffalo's got it in them to win a playoff game this season. We are the Rochester Press Box. Like it or not, it's next. Here's the Press Box trivia question brought to you by Market View Liquor, where exceptional customer service meets an extensive selection. Jefferson Road at 390. Here's the Press Box trivia answer brought to you by Market View Liquor, where exceptional customer service meets an extensive selection. Jefferson Road at 390. Hey, thanks for joining us and welcome back to the Rochester Press Box. Like it or not, Tariq, like it or not, the Toronto Blue Jays are going to position themselves in Buffalo and in Rochester this year.
And ate some crow because it was a week ago. Basically, no, we're good with Buffalo. We're good with Rochester. The lighting, we can't play. We want to be in a major league park. And then what happens after we tape the show? No, you guys can't come here. Can't come to Pittsburgh. Oh, sorry. Can't go to Cleveland. Oh, sorry. Oh, so now you want to go to Buffalo?
Yeah, these guys, they've like, they've all played in that lighting. It's a minor league ballpark. How much different, if they've got an issue with the way the ballpark is set up, really, how much different can it be? That's a good park.
Yeah, there's no difference. They just didn't want to play in a minor league park. That's fine. That's okay. Oh, by the way, there's not going to be an audience anyway. So what difference would it make? Just play the games that you're scheduled to play or forfeit the games that you don't want to play and then disappoint your fans.
Pat, what I do like is it keeps the staff in Rochester especially, it gives them something baseball related to do, which is really nice.
100%, yeah. I mean, there were folks that weren't going to be able to work all summer long that now have paychecks. I mean, look, there are restaurants in Rochester and Buffalo that are now going to have to feed this team. That gives people jobs, right? I mean, hotels where rooms are booked for a couple of months. That's going to, I mean, it's a good thing, yes. But, I mean, Tariq, I think you're right. It had nothing to do with the ballpark and everything to do with the comforts of the players that were going to be there. Hey, man, you got to eat crow. You look stupid. But it was kind of like 3 a.m. booty call-ish of Buffalo to be like, oh, yeah, sure, we'll take you back. Oh, no one else wants you? Yeah, we'll take it. Go ahead. We're happy to have you.
Absolutely.
Booty callish. Hey, Pat, like it or not, like him or not, Lou Williams and kind of breaking the bubble in the NBA.
Okay, so I am a little bit conflicted on what happened with Lou Williams. For those who don't know the story, Lou Williams, who plays for the Clippers, was let out of the bubble with permission to attend a friend's father's funeral. While he was out, a picture of him was taken inside Magic City, the world-famous adult dance club in Atlanta. So when the picture surfaces, he goes, whoa, listen. I wasn't there doing adult dance and stuff. I was just there for the wings. And I heard that excuse, and I laughed out loud. And then I was on social media like a couple days later, and somebody took a picture of the wings. And I have now changed my opinion because those wings look amazing. They come with fries. Why are there not more restaurants that serve French fries with wings? It's a perfect side-by-side, right? It's delicious. A little bit of sweet and salty, a little bit more sweet and salty. Here's the other thing. Magic City, I don't know if you guys have ever been before. I have a personal experience with Magic City. When I was in Atlanta doing stand-up comedy, a buddy of mine wanted to go to Magic City after. And we went, and we couldn't get in because we're nobodies, right? Like,
wow.
That makes me question whether or not Lou Williams was there actually for the wings, because on a night like that, it would take that kind of superstar power to get in to Magic City, and I don't know if they'd let a guy in just pick it up and order a wings. I'm torn. I believe his excuse, but the fact that he was in the building makes me think, maybe you were there for more than a couple chicken wings, Lou. That's all I'm saying.
We are the Rochester Press Box. Well, and who knows wings better than Western New York? I think we all qualify as experts on it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the Rochester Press Box and Unfinished Business is next.
Came now to Eichel. He floated one.
Thanks for joining us and welcome back to the Rochester Press Box. It's time for Unfinished Business. Pat Duffy starts us off.
It's the fight of the century, about 20 years too late. September 12th in California, pay-per-view, 51-year-old Roy Jones Jr. will take on 54-year-old Mike Tyson in, I believe, an 8-round exhibition match. It's $50 to buy on pay-per-view on September 12th. It's going to be done without a crowd because of everything going on. I shouldn't be excited about this fight, to watch a 51-year-old man punch a 54-year-old man in the face. But let me tell you something. I have not been more excited about a fight in decades than I am about Tyson Jones Jr. First of all, Roy Jones Jr. last fought only 2 years ago at 48 years old. Pretty amazing. Tyson hasn't fought since he quit on the stool against McBride in 05, but you've seen the videos of what Tyson can do. And if you're a fight fan, you know the last thing to go is power. Both of these guys are going to be evenly matched when it comes to speed. They've lost both of it, but both of them are guys that have hands that can do some serious damage. Look, I'm going to go even further. If this fight is entertaining and both of these men or one of these men is able to fight a legitimate fight against the other one, with the way that heavyweight boxing looks right now, would it be out of the question to see Mike Tyson 15 years later go back and try and right the wrongs that he said he did to the sport of boxing? I'm not saying it's probable. All I'm saying is if it were to happen, I'd watch it and I wouldn't count out Tyson.
So 5 months ago, before this pandemic took place, the NFL was sitting pretty. They had played their Super Bowl and were in their offseason and watched all the other sports like basketball, baseball, and hockey have the season just totally come to an end, while the NFL sat back and said, we have until September, don't worry about it. Well, now we're about to wrap up July and go right into August, and there's no NFL plan to be heard of. Not even the players understand what's going to happen. So use this NFL with the Marvel situation that's going on with Lou Williams and some of the breaking of the bubble to learn exactly what you need to do for your NFL season and put a plan together that the NFL players will be behind and feel safe about. A number of players have already opted out for the concerns of the coronavirus or having no plan. So what do you plan on doing? You had a whole 6 months to come up with one, and your season starts in less than 100 days. I suggest you do something about it before you find yourself in a similar situation of being made fun of.
I'm kind of piggybacking on what Tariq just said. These are the numbers that really scare the NFL. 3, 11, and 17. Those are the coronavirus numbers produced by the Miami Marlins baseball team this week. It was so serious that they shut the team down, and it impacted the schedules of 4 other teams in Major League Baseball. It is a reminder of what we're dealing with here. There's a lot we don't know about this virus, and it spreads like crazy. I mean, the baseball players have protocols that set them up and have protected them pretty well on the field. Off the field, you're on an honor system. You're not just protecting yourself, you're protecting the future, the immediate future of your sport. And that's where the NFL comes in. They face many of the same problems that baseball does outside of playing in a bubble. Except it's worse for the NFL because there's more of them and it's a much more physical sport. The numbers are bad. There's 3, 11, 17. This is not the end of the world for sports, but it's definitely a warning. That is Unfinished Business, and that is our show. Guys, nice job, Tariq. Pat, thank you very much.
Listen, Duffy, let me know. I would watch that fight, too. I'm already sucked in on the 12th. I don't even know. I don't remember anything else, any other dates. I don't care about the start of school. I just know September 12th.
All right, here's what we can do. We'll jump in the car. We'll go down to Atlanta. We'll go to Magic City for some wings, and we'll watch the fight there. How about that?
Sounds like a plan.
Sounds like a plan. Thank you all for joining us. Have a good trip, guys, and we'll see you again next week.